Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Late Nite Magic. I am your host, FitzMagic, joined as always with my late night compañero, Piano Rob. What up, my man?
How are you doing, Gene? I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
I'm doing especially good today. We have a fun guest in the house today from the world of radio, from the world of TV, from the world of Marvel, and the world of The Walking Dead. So, two iconic
he's
franchises.
done a lot. He's done a lot. It's going to be very fun.
And speaking of the iconic franchise of Marvel that he was part of, one of my favorite, I don't even know if they were villains because they were so likable, with the Tracksuit Mafia. Would you consider them villains? I know they kind of work for like bad guys and all, but
yeah,
they were like lovable. Like
they're henchmen.
Yes, but like they were part of the villain part of the MCU.
Yeah,
like lovable at the same time, right? Like I thought they were at least fun. So.
And for somebody like me who doesn't always like to go big on a Halloween costume, now I can get a nice tracksuit and I'm set. I'm a Marvel villain for any Halloween party.
You're an Italian from Staten Island. I don't know why you don't have like 10 of them in your closet already.
Well, you don't know. You don't know.
There we go.
Do you remember those with the remember the rip-off pants, Gene? But then you had to stop wearing those because somebody would rip your pants off. They had the snaps down the legs.
Yep, they were like the basketball players. They get off the bench. And I used to have a couple pairs of those. I was thinking it was John Starks back in the day.
I wear one of those before the show. Nobody gets to see it because we don't show the pre-show. But I rip them off. Right?
One day we'll have to show that as like as a bonus feature as the pre-show because they have no idea what goes on, man. The debauchery on the pre-show, and then forget about the after show is even worse. But I said we're describing our guest. We haven't even said his name. Carlos Alberto Navarro, fantastic actor, fantastic radio host. Down there for you local Orlandos. I'm a local Orlando. Rob's a local Orlando. Although I'm in New York for like 2 months. I'll be back. But here's another cool thing. Also, a former New Yorker like ourselves.
Yeah, he's kind of done everything we want to do. He's done it so much better than we have.
Well, that's why we got to be. We're going to pick his brain.
We're going to find that. He's gonna, maybe he'll give us the secret.
That's the thing. Yeah. So let's take a short commercial break. When we come back, our guest, Carlos Alberto Navarro.
Cute. Well, Winnie the Cute. Rawr, Jurassic Cute. You're not trash. You're cute. This is Sammy. Sammy loves Disney ears. She loves ears so much, she makes her own. Yeah, 3D ears. Want to see her do it? Let's check it out. Here she's making bows. Here she also makes ears. And sometimes she makes ears with bows. Any kind you want. People have been seeing her with her ears and they're saying, hey, can I get me some ears? Pow, yeah, you can. Here you go. Now Sammy's making ears for any occasions. Ears for dogs. Ears for spooky stuff. You name it. Ears for any occasion. And it's all happening at JSA Creations. JSA Creations. Just ask for Sammy.
Guys, the best ears in the business. Make sure you ask for Sammy. Dear friends of ours, we'll be in Orlando. They're there all the time. So, but yeah, they'll be there. I think this weekend. So, but guys, without further ado, let's welcome our guest, Carlos Alberto Navarro.
Hello, everybody. It's good to see you guys. Gene,
how you doing, my man?
Dude,
how you doing,
man? I love the piano intro and outro. I'm sitting there like, you're doing it live.
I'm doing it live.
Cool.
The piano's hooked up.
Best intro, best commercial. Your banter's great. I'm happy to be here. Late Night Magic.
Thank you. We started out, we didn't use the piano, we used the kazoo, but we felt like it wasn't really hitting, so we brought Piano Rob, and he
Are you kidding me? You got Piano freaking Rob, and you're gonna pull out a kazoo? Get out of here! I mean,
we thought we'd zig when they thought we'd zag.
That's true.
The kazoo just didn't land. So, but welcome to the show, my man. So excited to have you. There's so much to talk about because you're a part of so many cool things that everyone just loves. Very accomplished actor, very accomplished radio host. Let me ask you a question. Which love was there first for you? Like, did one help spawn the other career, or did you kind of wake up one day and just say, hey, I want to do both?
No, one totally brought on the other. I was in TV production in high school for 4 years. I was always wanted to be a director, always obsessed with movies and TV shows, and had a video camera. And then there was an internship. My mom said, right when I graduated high school. It's like, hey, they're hiring at Clear Channel Communications. They said they need somebody with TV production experience. I was like, I could do it. So I go and I apply, and they're like, you're too young. You're 17 years old, you idiot. And they're like, but they called me back later for an internship in production. And I actually, on the application, I remember writing this. I will do anything. I will even mop the floor. And when Dave Green, the head of production, called me up, he said, I like what you wrote there, that you said you'd do anything. Long story short, I'm sure I'll be saying that a lot. I became an intern in 1998. Damn, I'm old. And walked down the hall looking for Howard Stern, because Real Radio played Howard Stern then. And I had kind of an idea. Okay, I knew who Howard was. Walked down the hall. Hey, there's no Howard here. I thought he was in New York anyway. And a show called Russ and Bo and Dirty Jim were there. And I just luckily was like stuck around. And next thing you know, they thought I was funny. And next thing you know, 20 years later, here we are.
That's wow, awesome, man. I remember that time. I remember those shows too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
so ironically, my college internship, I was still in New York, St. John's. I did ABC Radio 95.5 POJ. Nice. I did their promotions. That's so freaking funny. I forgot about it. And yet K-Rock was so big, and Howard Stern was the show for so many years. I listened to him before school every day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was pretty crazy to be working at the same station where Howard was. And then we took over his spot after the whole FCC stuff and the Janet Jackson, the Super Bowl stuff. And then we've held on to it ever since.
Wow, that's great.
So when did you, obviously born in Queens, what part of Queens, by the way?
Flushing.
Oh, Met fan?
Yeah, well, I literally was born, like, my house was right down the street, but I moved when I was like 7. So I can't, like, officially, I'm a New York state of mind for sure. And and just like other New Yorkers, like, you meet somebody, you're like, you must have lived in New York at some time in your life, you know? And go ahead.
Especially when you say it like that. Like I had some times at the ice hockey rink at Flushing.
Oh yeah, like okay.
That was the only rink I ever got knocked into the other team's bench. Like I remember that. And St. John's. I went to St. John's. I was.
You went to St. John's.
I was nice. I was mostly at the Staten Island campus because it was easy for me. That's where I lived. But I was in Queens. That's so crazy. Wow.
Yeah,
I'm blown away right now.
We all matriculated down to Central Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right? Most Hispanics go to Florida, New York, or they stay where they're at. They don't creep into the Midwest. They don't every now and then, but you know, Florida and New York, it's our hubs.
Yeah.
So I want to touch on Monsters of the Morning for a minute.
Sure.
WTKS 104.1 in Orlando. How did so you kind of is that pretty much is that where you got your start? Like you mentioned the way you got your start. When did Monsters of the Morning kind of come about?
Yeah, so I was in film school. I was in film school in Valencia, and so that's what I was kind of focusing on. I wasn't trying to get into radio. And then I got this internship on this crazy talk show, Russ and Bo and Dirty Jim. And I became friends with one of the members of the show named Savannah. And her and I got close, and she was like, "You're funny. You're crazy. You want to?" And I was kind of shy around these older, crazy alcoholic maniacs that were rednecks. Like I'm this 18-year-old Hispanic kid. I'm like, And so I was a bit reserved. I wasn't my normal self. But to be honest, I didn't know who I really was then. I was kind of like growing, and I knew I was funny, but I didn't think I was like, I'm going to come in here and be funny or whatever. And then luckily, and I always say this, like, make sure you make a decision when it comes to your career, because if you don't, then you'll just kind of philander. And what I mean by that is I made a choice that I was like, okay, at the end of my internship, because back then you could kind of stay on and just kind of for years and people are like, but I was like, I'm ending it here, because if they want me, then they'll maybe keep me. But if they don't, then I'm just going to kind of be this intern forever. Luckily I did, because then we went on a trip that very next weekend, and I was like, well, I'm no longer their intern. I can let loose. And I did voices and bits and characters and wilding out. And Russ, the host of the show, was like, I want you on my show, after I had called it quits. And then been on there ever since. Had some years where I wasn't on there and did more acting. But I'm very, very grateful, very blessed to have been part of this, thankfully, very successful radio show, radio station, with a lot of loyal supporters.
Yeah, now, man.
You're so do you see radio as something that forever in the future? Like, is that something that you want to, that no matter how big the acting gets, is that like where you always want to stay anyway? Do you have
yes,
that much of it?
On my own terms. Like, I'm very fortunate that that the Monsters, when I came back, acting wasn't an issue. The first half, acting was a big issue. The first half of my career, they did not want me to act. They did not want me. It actually got me fired, basically.
Oh, wow.
And I said, all right, I'm gonna show you motherfuckers. No, and then years later, after I continued to act and they asked me to come back, and there were zero issues with it at all. They just want me being there. When I go shoot projects, I was gone for 5 months out of 2020. But with this technology, just like we're at now, this is where I do half of my shows is in my home studio through a whole different setup and everything. But then I go to the iHeart studios. They are awesome, awesome company. So if I can do it on these terms, yes. But if it's something like I don't see myself ever doing like, music radio or anything like that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But at first though, I thought initially though when I would act like, oh, one day I'll kind of let it be. But I love it. I really do love what I get to do. It's a unique show. It's a 5-hour talk show for those who've never heard it before, and that in itself is insane. And so I'm good. If I could choose any radio in the world, it would be exactly what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
That's really you got to feed your passion.
And creative people don't want to be locked down to one thing. Like that's just the truth of the matter. It's hard to like you if you can act and can do radio, you want to feed both those needs. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think we can do that nowadays, whereas maybe last generation that was frowned upon more. You go to one job and you grind it out and then you get a gold watch and you're done. It's not, but there's more fulfilling ways. And honestly, that's the type of guests we get on the show that have found the more fulfilling ways to live life. And it's an inspiration to our listeners. And that's why we love doing the show.
Sure. So, a lot of things that you do also, I don't think people understand either or know about is you actually do some voicing, some voice acting on video games. You've done Madden 19, Madden 20, the Fallout, to name a couple. How did you get involved in that, doing voice acting for video games?
I've always loved video games. I worked for EA Sports for several years. I was one of their, basically I kind of traveled the world with them and interviewed athletes and hosted some stuff. And so I've always been into games. And then when I got fired from the radio station many moons ago, I was hired by EA almost immediately. And I've always been kind of obsessed with sports. And so that worked, but then they saw my voice work, and that's why I've done that and Red Dead Redemption and all these games. But, once you get an agent, they usually have voice work too. So I turned down a lot, like to audition, but stuff like this, Madden, Red Dead Redemption, for all that stuff, you got to go for it. So that's luckily I'm still able to sprinkle that in and do it when I can.
Are you a big Madden guy?
I am very, very good friends with the creative director of Madden. He's one of my good bros, and he's put me. I'm in the game, so I love Madden. I mean, Jesus. I mean, why am I sitting here stammering? Of course, I love Madden. I played Madden with Sega. I'm like sitting here giving you a million examples, but I'm more of a. Let's see, what game am I playing right now? The show. I'm really into baseball right now.
Okay.
So baseball is at our home, always on. That and Coco Melon, because I got a 2-year-old. I'm just a big sports fan in general.
Everybody's got their thing. Gene, I've been playing NHL, EA Sports, at least 3 games a day since the playoffs had started. And I still can't stop. 3 games a day. It's part of my routine.
He's called out of interviews for this damn game. I get it. So
yeah, it's paused right now. I gotta win a Stanley Cup, man. You
gotta go for it. Don't worry. My Madden, my franchise Madden, my player, Los Honcho is Hall of Fame, destroy. I'm 6'7". I can run like a gazelle. Nobody stops me. I'm dropping 70-yard bombs. So even though I'm in the game, I still create my player and do it.
You got a howitzer for an arm.
We all do, ladies, this is what we do. We make fantasy versions of ourselves, even in our sports games, so we can live out all our dreams that will never happen. That's what we do.
Exactly. Now did you also do you created yourself for a wrestling game too? I'm going to see you do like a ring entrance.
Yeah, I didn't do that, but somebody else did.
Oh, is that okay? I saw the video clip of it.
It was awesome.
it looked exactly like you.
I thought it was pretty damn cool. Like,
yeah,
you know, I've been fortunate, especially with the Marvel stuff, to get some really awesome fan art, like sick fan art. This was another level. This was like, they took some time, every little detail, and they just submitted it to our show. And it was all of the members of the radio show looking like badass wrestlers. And we don't even know who made it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Shout out to if you out there if you're listening.
I know.
So you're part of two of the biggest franchises in TV and film, right? The Walking Dead, Marvel. How amazing and how blessed do you feel like you could say, I mean, how many people could say they're part of any franchise and you're part of two of them? What's that feel like? And what was the experience like on set being on these two behemoths of franchises?
Well, it's an amazing feeling. I'll be quite honest. I mean, it's as an actor to be able to be a part of something that forever in time you'll be able to go like, hey, Walking Dead, you know, Marvel is very validating. Because when you become an actor, all you hear is like, you'll never make it. This is stupid. I heard those little words from very close people. And so when you do end up getting something that is, you know, you can't argue with it. You can't be like, nah, you didn't do anything. It's like, guys on Marvel, okay? Is that, you know?
Yes.
So, and Walking Dead, they're two different experiences.
Yeah.
But being a fan first, before actually booking the show, makes it that much better. Because there were several people on Walking Dead, never seen an episode. Never got it. Not everybody. A lot of people were really hardcore. But when I got that, and it was a 5-year process to get on The Walking Dead.
Wow.
Not because it's the initiation or anything like that, but when they like you, they're going to audition you. And I auditioned over 15 different times.
Wow.
Now,
okay.
I didn't know that they liked me. I just thought they were fucking with me, to be honest. Okay. So after 5 years, and this is my favorite show. So think about whatever your favorite show is right now, and you're watching it, and you're seeing the parts that you auditioned for. Okay. And you're like, oh, that was the part. Oh, that was.
Yeah.
And luckily, other than like one, the rest of them, most of them, I was like, okay, well, I'm not a black girl. Okay, well, I'm not tall and burly. You know, like I could see why they went with that choice, right? And then one time I was like, shit, that dude looked too much like me. I think he just did a better job, you know? And then, you know, fortunately, I found out later after just getting a call from the executive producer and not really even having to audition after meeting him after shooting season 7, that he really, really loved me. And he was just waiting for the perfect part for me. And he even named my character Alvaro after my last name, Navarro.
I noticed that. I was curious.
Yeah,
That's so that's awesome.
It was kind of like a combo of your middle name. Yeah, we got some.
There it is. Yeah.
Right. So we got a few photos.
Oh man, you know, I look at those, Gene, and just great times. These were a lot of this time was after, you know, you shoot a long day, you go grab some dinner, you're sitting there with your castmates, and we were like, for those who don't know, the show had this group called The Kingdom, and we're kind of the good guys of the show, and we came on after a very, very brutal Glenn episode, and the show shifted then. I would probably say that's the big defining shift in the show.
Yeah.
And so you become very close, away from our families, shooting in Atlanta, and I love those people. Like they're my family. You experience just like you two. You know, you guys are expanding, and Puddles or Pudley. You experience something where you're creating something together that cannot be replicated, right? And so you really share this deep bond. And to this day, I still am very close with a lot of the people. Marvel was different because it came out of the blue. It was one of those like, oh, I got a Marvel audition. All right, let me do it so I can forget about it because they're, you know, I was auditioning for a show called Ozark, which is on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I've worked with Jason Bateman before. I thought I was going to get a part on this show where I was coincidentally in Navarro because they got a whole Navarro crime gang on there. And highly anticipating my call from my agent. I'm at the Science Center with my daughter, walking around. Get a call from my agent. I'm like, oh shit! I'm like, this is Ozark. And so I'm like, yo, tell me good news. And he's like, you booked it, dude. I'm like, hell yeah. He's like, Marvel. I'm like, no, I didn't audition for Marvel. What are you talking about? And yeah, this this audition that ended up being, the biggest role of my life was something I forgot about because it was such one of those things that said Marvel, recurring, 6-month shoot, New York, LA, Georgia, all this shit. I'm like, well, that would be pretty fucking amazing, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. And it did.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was probably the healthy way to do it. Like, just put it out there, you leave it out there, and you don't expect to get a call, and then it's like hitting the lottery.
Dude, Rob, let me tell you, the acting gods know when you're waiting. The acting gods know when you're sitting there 10 times Walking Dead. I was like this, oh, please, let me just get it. Nothing.
Yeah.
Not even a no. Not even a you suck. Just a, no, we're just moving on. And so
there's no closure. There's no closure.
Yeah,
it's like, you don't know why.
It's like you said before, like you'll see the character that you auditioned for. Like next thing you know is you just see that character on the show. You're like, oh, I guess I did.
And you start hating that actor for no reason. You're like, I'm not watching
honestly,
that guy.
Walking Dead and Marvel, I had gotten to the point. Marvel had not auditioned as much, and I was kind of coming into my love of Marvel. It was after Endgame, and like I was like just getting into it, but I'd grown this kind of animosity towards The Walking Dead and Marvel. I was kind of like, yeah, whatever. Because like, imagine you getting dissed constantly by people you like. Eventually, you're like, no, screw them. I don't want to.
Especially when they keep dangling that carrot in front of you, like, hey, come audition. Maybe we'll let you in the gang now.
Exactly. So when I booked both of them, it was just as a fan, as an actor, as a father who my daughter loves Marvel. It couldn't be any better.
Yeah.
And you get to be part of that universe now forever.
We understand that. I mean, everything behind me, you probably can't see it. It's all Marvel. Like,
dude.
I'm heading to Epcot after this interview. I already got my boarding group for Cosmic Rewind. Like,
he's been on Cosmic Rewind. Like,
today's 10, Gene. Today's gonna be
I thought
10.
it was more than that. I thought it was even more than that.
Nice.
So working on as part of the Kingdom with Kari Payton, what was that what was the set like? As far as I know, like you said, you guys are very close. We have actually had Zach Zanelis, who was on. He was Boone on the last season. I know it's very close knit. What is it like? Is there time to joke around? Is there time to play? Did they keep you guys kind of like squared away from the world? And what was the showrunners like? Like how did the showrunners really run that show behind the scenes?
Well, great questions, because they were similar and they were very different in the same regard. Walking Dead was me walking onto my dream show. I'm like, oh my God, there's Hilltop. Oh my God, there's the Sanctuary. Yeah. And so it is a bit overwhelming, especially I shot the 100th episode going into season 8 when it was Negan and Rick, and it was the big battle. And I'm watching, I have a front row view of what will go down as landmark history television, Yeah. And so yes, is there time to joke around and screw around? Absolutely. Absolutely. We're laughing. We got zombies. I remember Kari, speaking of Kari, the first time we all had the Kingdom outfits on. Okay. And we all get dressed and we all come together and we're all like in a little circle and we all look at each other. Kari's like, we are the motherfucking Kingdom. Look at us, man. Look at us. And we're like, oh my God. And I've had that moment before. Like, well, I had that moment then, and then I had it with Marvel again, where as a fan, as whatever, like, holy shit, people are gonna trip out about this. And it's awesome, man. It feels so good because
that's great.
I appreciate it as a fan first, as an actor second. Because I'm just like, all right, now I got to do that. Once you get to set, your job is done. Everything else is fun. You're going to learn, you're going to do it. Marvel, as far as the executive producer, Scott Gimble was amazing. Yeah. Super sweetheart, very kind. When I first met him, he recited my lines. I met him a year later. He recited my line. Who dares trespass on the sovereign nation of the Kingdom? and it's just like, this guy's manning a $1 billion franchise. And he still has the time to learn, supporting characters like me. That's huge. Yeah. And then Marvel was a behemoth. Walking Dead, there were still talks of budget. Hey, we're not going to cut this because of budget.
Okay.
Marvel don't give a damn about budget.
Yeah, there's no budget.
Give print money.
On TV, the way it works with acting is, let's say you book a role, okay, and it's not a recurring, it's not a regular. You're going to be there one day, maybe 2 days, okay? So you get to set. They're pretty much like, all right, man, we're going to be shooting here in a second, man. Go get your makeup done, and then we'll be here, and you're going to go to your trailer, and then at about 10 o'clock, be ready to be on set. Okay, cool. Marvel, you get there like, hey, guys, what's up? Come on in. We don't know if we're going to shoot with you guys today, but just relax on your big, nice trailer. They want to get shit right. Not to say Walking Dead doesn't, but Hawkeye was a film shot as a TV show.
Yes. And that's a luxury they have. That's great. Yeah.
Well, and people may not understand the schedule of a TV show shooting wise, as opposed to a movie, is entirely different. Entirely different. When you got to bang out an episode, it's a little different now because of even The Walking Dead had that break and all that stuff. But if you look at the schedule, and since we talk movies on this show, right? So this is the nuts and bolts of it. There was definitely times in The Walking Dead I was like, man, if we shot this like a movie, we could have made it 10 times better. But guess what? They're like, we got to get this shot done because we got to go. We got episode 9. We got to be shooting here. Marvel was not like that. Marvel was like, we'll get it in reshoots. Don't worry.
Yeah. That's
3
great.
or 4 days we'd show up and not shoot anything. But me and Alex and Piotr and Fra, we'd be sitting in our trailers bullshitting, and they'd be apologizing to us for not getting to us. We're like, no, we're good. We're good. We'll just let us know. A lot of improv on the Marvel set. Zero improv on the Walking Dead set.
Wow,
I'm surprised that I figured with Marvel, they're so, and being Disney, they'd be so like set to, this is the script that was written, but they gave you the avenue to improv. That's actually
huge, King.
Wow,
huge.
That's great.
Like for me, I'm an improv guy, so I love it. And I felt like with Walking Dead, there were definitely times like, damn, but it's a different feel. On Marvel, I played a character where we were these fun villains, crazy.
Yeah, that's what
So they casted us for that, and me and the 2 other bros, Alex and Piotr, who are my bros for real bros. Like I love those dudes. Just did a convention with them. What I realized was those are my dudes. I love those men right there. Okay, so here's the crazy thing. Ready? Since I already told you the audition story. So Alex, and if you want to pop that book up there, puddle. There you go. So Alex is in the middle. You've known him from a million things, Snowpiercer and freaking Van Helsing. The guy's 6'7", a stud. He's my bro. He's from Canada. He did the same exact audition that I did. Piotr, right there. He's from Poland. He is like the Paul Rudd of Poland. Like, we found this out later. He's super famous, and he is probably, and you guys know the actors I've worked with, he's probably the best actor I've ever seen.
Really? Wow. Okay. All right.
And I've worked with some of the best.
Yeah.
And he did the same audition. So what Marvel did was they found the Tracksuit Mafia. They gave us all the same audition, and one's from Little Orlando, Poland, and Canada.
This is like a joke. A guy from Orlando, Poland, and Canada walk into an audition.
Exactly. That does sound like a joke, but they know what they're doing. And I got to work with Kevin Feige, which was just
that's amazing.
As a Spielberg sycophant. Okay, I'm a Spielberg sycophant. Like I met him as well, and I almost cried like a little baby.
I would.
But meeting Kevin Feige at 4 a.m. after shooting hours of throwing Molotov cocktails at Hawkeye, turning around and him being right there and praising us was absolutely unreal. One of the greatest moments of my career to have what is arguably the Spielberg of our generation, or this generation, tell you how much Carlos, honor meeting you, man. I appreciate you so much for what you're doing. I'm like, yeah, wow, you're Kevin Feige. I mean, come on. And it was right when WandaVision was coming out.
Yeah, okay.
So I was blown away by WandaVision. I'm sure you guys were as well. Yeah. And so it was like this fresh-faced Kevin Feige at 4 a.m. He just left Spider-Man No Way Home to shoot. And he's like, and I'm like, Kevin, WandaVision is amazing. He's like, thank you so much. We were trying to do this. It was all new. It was all new. I literally was like, is there going to be a second season? They're like, we don't know.
I'll tell you what's amazing is you're shooting Hawkeye right in that shows you how far ahead that they have these things planned out.
Of course,
it's not like and I know, and you kind of know it. Obviously, it's too big of a thing just to do on a spur of the moment after each series. But when you actually hear it and it puts it in perspective a little bit, to think that they were already shooting Hawkeye when WandaVision was just getting put on the air, and you didn't even know what the response would be yet. Like, and you already know where you're going. There was 2 series in between that, I believe, wasn't there? So
there was Loki and Falcon.
Yeah,
Falcon Winter Soldier.
And then you guys were the 4th, and then there's so much time elapsed in the MCU that it's amazing to know that they know where they're at that far in advance. You know what I mean?
I was blown away by it too, and they do leave a lot. I know you just said that, Gene. Like, it's too big to, but they leave these big pockets open for this movement. Like, and it's everybody. Like, talking with Jeremy Renner about it. At times we'd be like, "Hey, what's going on with this whole?" He's like, "It's Marvel. Just, he'd be like, just let it be, just let it be." Because he says same thing. You'd show up, no script. Not for me, but like because it was so new. But Kevin and Trin and the team that they have there, Lewis, are just the best in the world, obviously. And the reason, and you guys will appreciate this being fans, is they're fans themselves. They're the biggest fans. I'd walk on the set and be like, to Trin, I'd grab something and be like, "Is this an Easter egg? Is this an Easter egg?" On set, she's like, "Maybe." I'm like,
"That's funny.
I think it is." So they appreciated that I loved it. They would sit and talk with me and geek out about it. So I would tell actors all the time, like, don't be this too cool for school actor. Don't get on a set and be like, "Oh, I don't even watch TV." Nah. We're all here because we love this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be too cool.
One of the biggest quotes I hate is when you mention a show to somebody and they feel like, "Oh, I really don't watch TV." Oh, dude, I'm like, get out of here. Everybody watches TV. You don't watch TV.
Thank you.
You're too important to watch TV. You're out at the club every night. You don't watch
Not in my house. I want my daughter watching more TV. I want my kids watching more TV. It's my family business. I don't care. People are always like, "You watch your kid watch TV?" I'm like, "Yes. And we love it." Okay, leave me alone.
Exactly.
Carlos, I'll tell you what, though. It's like you were in my brain. Like, I was thinking, you're very lucky because you've been getting to work with people that are fans. And because they're fans of what they're on, Scott Gimple's like that on Walking Dead. They care about that so much. And that rolls. It's always going to start from the top. If the people on top aren't great, the crap rolls downhill. And if they do care, then that feeds you. Like you feel. I can tell how appreciated you feel by those people, and
Big
that's
time.
good. That's good. That shows in the work.
Yeah,
so it's that's wonderful. That's great.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Do we think we're gonna get some more Tracksuit Mafia in the future? Like, is this? I know maybe you can't say anything.
Listen, I would, if I knew anything outright that I could say, I would obviously tell you. But you know what I've realized is that Chris Hemsworth. I just read this because I was looking at the Thor reviews because I just saw it and I loved it. By the way,
I did too.
Okay, good. Everybody's kind of hating on it or giving mixed reviews. I'm like,
I haven't seen it yet.
People that hate it don't understand. This is so comic book like the character. They moved the storyline forward. Christian Bale was wonderful.
My God. He was amazing in it.
They introduced very specific new characters that are going to be essential in the future. They did everything. The arcs of all the characters were perfect. I loved it.
Yeah.
I'm in New York right now, and my wife doesn't want to go to the theaters because of monkeypox now. So I have to wait. Monkeypox.
Sorry, Gene.
So my wife says we gotta wait. So I guess I'm grounded.
Get them monkeys. I'm a diehard fan. They're diehard fans, and I think that's why ultimately it really, really works too.
Well, I do, and let me ask you a question too, because we kind of talked about it before. You mentioned it a little bit before. Tracksuit Mafia, were they really bad guys? Honestly, I mean, I felt like they got a job and they had a job to do, but they were nice
they're
guys.
Henchmen.
You know, like Piotr, like you said, Piotr was getting women advice from Haley Steinfeld.
That was so funny. That was great.
That was the audition.
Oh, was it really?
That was the audition.
That's great.
That was the audition. Yeah.
What was that like being able to work with? Again, you mentioned Jeremy Renner before. Jeremy Renner, Haley Steinfeld, not just people that are big in Marvel, but big in the universe. I mean, Haley Steinfeld, a phenomenal singer. Did she ever just belt out notes on set? Did she ever just start singing on set?
I've never been asked that before, Gene. She did not. But I didn't know. Okay, ready? I'm on a flight. I didn't know what project I was working on, and I'm on a flight to New York.
That's
okay,
great.
It was called Anchor Point. It was just like Anchor Point. I'm like, okay, that's Hawkeye. So I knew Jeremy Renner. I'm in a flight. I get to my hotel. Remember, there's no real information. I'm not even looking up a bunch of information. I sit on my flight, and here comes Tony Dalton, Lalo from Better Call Saul, who I'm like, and he's like, I'm right here, sitting right next to me. And I just look at him like, you don't understand. I absolutely love you. And I have to tell you that you're amazing at Better Call Saul. So, and then Haley must have come on, but I didn't notice her. It wasn't until like my second day at the hotel that I get into the, and this is in the midst of COVID. This is like 2020 New York lockdown COVID, and we're shooting it. Okay. Yeah.
So everybody's in stormtrooper masks. You can't see anybody
100%.
At this point.
Oh, and by the way, you pop for COVID, you're off the show. So I'm walking
not even
around
like off for a little bit, like off. Like not even just to go home for 2 weeks. You're off the show.
Yeah.
Initially, yes. First month of shooting, if you would have caught that and they didn't shoot your stuff, you would have been gone. So I was tripping. I was looking like Sharia law, walking around with everything covered up. I was like this.
Yeah,
you know,
I wouldn't even see. Yeah.
And so Haley, I go to set and I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God, that's Haley freaking Stanford. And I'm like, holy crap. And she comes up, hey guys, you guys in the chat. Haley is a superstar. Haley is so talented. She can sing. She can act. She's funny. She's dramatic. She's doing roundhouse kicking. She trained MMA. She can shoot the arrow. She is as first class as they come. And she was nice to every single person. That picture of me and her, I think Puddle had it up there, of me in the cart with Haley in the background. She's a superstar, man. And we had lovely conversations because just like Eugene, I was like, so I actually asked her, I was like, so what do you like? Because I actually didn't know how good she was acting wise, True Grit and all this other stuff. Yeah. So I always kind of thought she was a little bit back and forth, but no, she's full in acting. So I go, what do you like better? She's like, oh, I love acting way better than music. Music's dirty. People are competitive. Acting is a collaborative thing. And I didn't realize like how huge Haley was until afterwards, or kind of like in the midst of it. And I started posting stuff with me and Haley. And I mean, her fans are as rabid as they come. And she's just world-class, man. I can't wait to see what she does next. I can't wait to see her and Yelena. I would love to see them do a buddy comedy. But as far as the Tracksuit Mafia, that was the original question. I always knew I was going to play a mafia guy. I didn't know it'd be the Tracksuit Mafia. but it actually was perfect for us. We are, all of us, as far as Alex and Piotr are comedy guys. Like, we do comedy, but for whatever reason, we also look pretty fucking scary and crazy and can do all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what they were looking for, to have that blend and be true henchmen. I mean, we literally were in Eternals, fighting in different galaxies, having to teleport, and then luckily Hawkeye came in at the perfect time.
Yeah, man.
This little Christmas thing, these fun, goofy, actually you can look back here, you can see right there, that's the Simpsons. That's the Bros at Moe's. Somebody made that for me.
I like that.
And then,
that's great.
And then Marvel loved it and made posters with us and made commercials. It was so much better than I even could have imagined.
Yeah, that's great. That's great to hear.
To be a bro.
Yeah,
it's great to hear for fans too. You know what I mean? The fans want to hear that the actors are always happy. You want everybody wins when it's done the right way.
Honestly, guys, I've only been a part of a couple shoots that were not fun, and that one of them was Charlie's Angels, the TV show, which nobody has heard of. But they'd already known they were done. They were
Kelly,
done.
right? Was that Mickey Kelly?
You're right. Very good.
I don't miss a Mickey Kelly project.
I thought you don't watch TV.
She was very nice and beautiful, obviously, but they were kind of done. They were like, Bloodline was cool. I love Bloodline, but they were done too. The show had been basically done. So when you're working with a bunch of people that they know, it's kind of done. But other than that, man, most of the time people are just glad they got the gig. We're here. We're on set.
What it is? When you're on a show that it's on its way out, it's almost be like on a bad football team, right? At like week 10, they're like 2-8, and they're just trying to get to the end of the
through the motion
season.
Yeah.
And so that so I got a three-part question. Actor, actress, director. An actor you've never worked with that's your dream actor to work with.
Okay.
Same thing with an actress. Same thing with a director.
Okay. Actor Pacino.
Okay.
That's the one right off my subsequent Edward Norton, maybe. Director's got to be Spielberg or Scorsese. And female actress. I thought of Melissa McCarthy up front, but I did Identity Thief with her. I just didn't work with her.
Yes, you did.
But there Bijou Phillips, I would love to work with.
Okay.
That's a random ass one, but she's so funny. There's I actually have a little list of my notes that when I see a good actor, I'll like write down, like, I want to work with that guy, and or that girl, like, and I'll write that as well. So I'll have to look at my notes, but yeah, I would say I don't know why Bijou Phillips. That one just popped in my head.
That's a good one.
That's a good one though. Yeah, we've never had a Bijou Phillips yet, so that's
she's hilarious, man. Yeah,
that's why it's great.
All right, so Carlos, we're gonna play a game that we play called Lightning Lane. It's where we ask you 10 rapid fire questions. First things that pop off your head, you answer it with. You ready to play?
Let's go.
All right, Patty Puddles, run it. Amazing, right. I feel like I'm right behind a car.
Right,
we
there.
can't get rid of it now. It's
yeah, right. No matter what our budget ever becomes, we're gonna have that cheesy graphic.
Damn right.
So, all right. So you ready?
Ready.
Favorite late night snack?
Key lime pie.
Ooh.
Last song you listened to?
Last song I listened to, Lightning Round, So Fast, Super Fast. It's the old McDonald's song by Coco Melon.
And now you know he's a dad if you didn't know before.
Yes.
All right. Movie theater or stream it? What do you prefer? Going to the theater or just sitting back on the couch and watching it with a fan?
Oh, that's not a fair question because they're both, movie theater. I'll go movie theater.
Biggest fear?
Getting attacked by a pack of wild dogs.
Ooh, it's a good one.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
My biggest pet peeve is when people say that I got my education. I hate that joke. I hate when people, I don't know why. That joke, when people, I got my education from, I was like, shut up. Or when they say I rode the short bus. I don't know why. Those always, but I do have a bigger pet peeve.
Those are so specific because I know those. Like that, I don't know if everybody gets that. I don't know if that's the whole world, but I'm in those rooms.
Now, anybody that said that to you in the past that might be listening is going to be like, oh, shoot.
But damn, Gene, I had a pet peeve. I literally the other day, I was like, hey, if anybody ever asks me what my pet peeve is, this is what's going to be because it was something. Damn it. No, I can't remember.
You should have wrote it down next to your actor.
I got it there. I should have.
One of mine is the I don't watch TV line.
That's a good one.
You really hate that, Gene.
I can't stand it.
They just say that because they don't watch our show.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right. Who's your favorite Disney villain?
My favorite. Well, I could go real geeky on you and be like, well, actually, Marvel and Star Wars are Disney, so I could actually.
If you want to pick one from there too, feel free because I'm curious.
I mean, I hate to go with Thanos, but he's just so good, and I tell you,
he's
man,
so compelling. He's compelling.
This one in Thor, he was fantastic. He was Christian Bale.
Yeah.
But all-time bad guy. Say goodnight to the bad guy, but that's not Disney for sure. Scar.
Scar's all right. Good. Yeah. Hey, man, he's one of the worst.
Yeah.
Killed his brother, frames it on his nephew. Like, yeah, come on. That's pretty evil. That's a villain.
Cat person or dog person?
Dog person. Don't even begin that. I'm allergic to cats. I ain't got no problem with cats. Just keep them the fuck away from me. How about that?
If you could go back to school, what would you study?
If I wasn't going to do entertainment, I think I might go into the law, like lawyer, be a lawyer. That was always something that was interesting to me.
Appealing. I'm with you.
Yeah, appealing. But that'd be total. It's way more fun doing what I do.
I'm a true crime guy too. Like I'll go down that road on TV, so I'll watch those cases and watch the I love that stuff. So I'm with you.
So I was going to ask you favorite TV show of all time, but you kind of answered that already. So let me switch it around. What is your favorite movie of all time?
Scarface.
Ah,
Scarface to me is a perfect film in many ways.
Yes.
It was a genre-defining film. It was a genre-bending film. It was written by arguably the greatest directors of all time, Oliver Stone. It was directed by arguably one of the greatest directors of all time, Brian De Palma. It's the beginnings of a true anti-hero, which is what we basically watch and follow on every major show now. Yeah. It was the first time Cuba was highlighted in major films. Yeah, maybe it was under some different terms. And it's always, to me, it's a comedy, it's a drama, it's cheesy, it's serious, it's graphic, it's everything you would want in a film. And so that's
it had like a million catchphrases too, right? Like
exactly.
Like how many catchphrases? How many times people hear kids today say quotes from that movie and they don't know from that movie.
They don't know yet.
Yep.
Like my son the other day said something. I'm like, that's from Scarface. And he's seen it before, but like
say hello to my little friend. Probably that's the one that you're always good at.
But
kids love that.
I'll tell you one thing too about Pacino. That was like the golden era of Pacino, right? Like he played an Italian mafia guy, then he plays a Cuban guy with a strong accent. He played the gay bank robber.
Yeah, Dog Day Afternoon.
Right around the same time. Like, you've never seen an actor play so many different kinds of roles all in the same time frame to the point where you don't even realize it's Al Pacino because he really embraces those characters. So
one day I will work with them.
Once. All right, let's do. I know we're getting close on time. Number one item on your bucket list.
Well, I go to Africa, go on a safari. That's what immediately I thought of. Take my family out there and do that. I have been fortunate career-wise. A lot of buckets been checked. A lot of buckets.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
As like a kind of a soulful, spiritual kind of thing, I would say going to Africa. Africa,
Let me ask you a quick other question then. So you said you crossed a lot of bucket list stuff off. What's one of the ones that you would like the most excited to cross off?
Meeting Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Random ass. I could probably give you 5, Gene, but meeting Steven Spielberg I met him at E3 in LA. I wasn't supposed to meet him. I wasn't shooting with him. I was actually looking to meet Jack Black. I'm a diehard Jack Black guy.
Yeah.
And he was there. A game called this was many years ago, but it was some game, and I was like, "Oh, Jack Black's." And then my buddy was like, he knew I was a Spielberg fan. He's like, "No, dude, Spielberg is here." I'm like, "What?"
Wow.
And so I ran over there in Hall B or whatever the hell it was, and just waited for him. I waited for like I was it was crossing the line. I was working for EA, but I was definitely stalking him. And I was like, man, he was in this room. Remember a game called Dragon Age? Anyway, if you guys don't, but he was looking at that game to see if he could make it a movie. So he's in this room, he walks out, and I see him, and he's with these giant bodyguards, and he's exactly how you imagine him. Vest, cap, glasses, as if he just got off this set. And there he comes, and I'm like, that's Steven Spielberg. And guys, I mean, literally, this man changed my life. I got into the movie industry because of him, and he turned the corner. And I couldn't take a picture with anybody. I couldn't even, but I had to bump into somebody while I was working at EA Sports. I couldn't just go. So I would turn the corner like, oh, and there he was. I said, Mr. Spielberg, I've been waiting since I was 9 years old to say this to you. And I go, thank you. Like that, like I was, and he goes, what is your name? And I go, Carlos. And he goes, no, Carlos. Thank you. And I'm like, and then I stalked him as he kept walking out, and then security got a hold of me. I'm just kidding. But that's my bucket list moment. Like you tell 9-year-old Carlos, yeah, you're gonna meet. Even just meeting this genius was vindicating. I don't even know if that's word, but
that's great.
So, bonus question: best piece of advice you ever received, and who gave it to you?
Daryl Hammond. Hammond.
From SNL.
Yes. Listen to this. So, I'm an up and coming radio. I was 19 to get back to the perfect way to finish kind of the whole thing.
Full circle.
So I'm a young kid. I knew I wanted to get in entertainment, but I didn't know exactly how. I knew I wanted to be a part of it. I hadn't started acting classes yet. I hadn't really done anything as of yet. I was just on the radio and had big aspirations. Daryl Hammond comes in. For those who don't know, he's kind of Hall of Fame, Saturday Night Live, super talented guy. He had a stand-up show. So did the interview, didn't really even talk to him. And then in the break, I went in there and I was like, I just kind of want to shake his hand. He was, so I walk in and I say, hey, Daryl. And for whatever reason, I didn't plan on saying this walking in. I said, hey, Daryl, I just want to let you know, one day I'm going to be standing right there next to you. Okay. And I'm like, why did I say that? And he goes like this. He looks at me and goes, actually, I introduced myself. He goes, Carlos, if you don't quit, you eliminate 99% of the competition. Okay. Ready for this? Wow. He goes, I walked up to Al Pacino in a bar and said exactly what you said to me. And that's what he told me.
So you got Al Pacino's advice.
And we also learned that Daryl Hammond is a recycler.
Exactly, right? Wow. But think about that shit, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like you said, you didn't plan to say it. It's like some energy made you say that, and it probably did it to Daryl Hammond when he said it to Al Pacino. And said, "Why did I say that?"
Ideas are just these little energy balls, and sometimes we grab them and we hold on and we make it something. Yeah. And I think, for whatever reason, I needed to hear that. I got into acting class after that. I hadn't even done it, but that stuck with me. If I don't quit, I eliminate 99% of my competition. I'm the last person of my acting class still acting.
That makes sense.
God bless it, man. God bless. Right?
Carlos, thank you, man. Thank you for all of this. Wow.
You guys are awesome. Gene and Rob and Puddle and everybody, keep doing this. I'm going to give you the same advice. You guys got something very good here. And I know there are a lot of podcasts, a lot of shows out there. I get requested a lot. I'm very fortunate in that sense, but I checked out your stuff, and you guys are great guys. And I ultimately wish you guys the best.
Thank you so much, Carlos. Again, and good luck with everything you got coming up in the future. Love to have you back. Thank you so much for giving us some time. Really, really appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man.
Carlos Alberto Navarro, everybody. Thank you so much, my man. We'll get a short commercial break. When we come back, we're going to wrap it up.
Cute. Well, Winnie the Cute. Rawr, Jurassic Cute. You're not trash. You're cute. This is Sammy. Sammy loves Disney ears. She loves ears so much, she makes her own. Yeah, 3D ears. Want to see her do it? Let's check it out. Here she's making bows. Here she also makes ears. And sometimes she makes ears with bows. Any kind you want. People have been seeing her with her ears and they're saying, hey, can I get me some ears? Pow, yeah, you can. Here you go. Now Sammy's making ears for any occasions. Ears for dogs. Ears for spooky stuff. You name it. Ears for any occasion. And it's all happening at JSA Creations. JSA Creations. Just ask for Sammy.
What a fantastic guest. Every week, man, we get blessed with these guests. And another one today. A lot of fun. Such a great guy. And again, we always get such great advice, man. We should do a coffee table book with everyone we've had on with their quotes of advice.
You know what? We should make we'll make a clip thing of it or something too.
Yeah, we got it, because I'll tell you what,
it's some really good stuff.
We get the best advice on this show, and stuff that I think even me and you can look at it like what
I learn every week.
Yeah, it's stuff that we want to do with our show too. Besides everything else that I'm like what Carlos said today is perfect advice, not just for our listeners, but even from ourselves. So, I really just fantastic stuff, man.
I can't wait to see what he does in the future too. And I know I said we got lucky last week too with New Pierre Garrett. He's doing so much. These are actors, and not just actors. I don't even want to put them in the acting box. Yeah. They do so many things. They can grow in so many directions. I'm so curious just to see where their careers go.
Yeah, I agreed, man. Especially when you see Carlos already part of two major iconic franchises, and who knows what's coming up in the future. So we look forward to seeing that. And but for you, man, I guess what we're gonna do, we're gonna check the Facebook group so we know where we're performing this week, right?
Mm-hmm. Let's do that.
Go do that. Go make sure you check out the reels and the TikToks. As you know, Piano Rob is killing it on the reels and the TikTok.
I'm trying.
We're getting close to the fall, man. We're getting close to the end of the summer. So guys, I know the kids. I know they go back to school early in Florida.
Yeah, man. Second week of August.
Yeah, so
I think they're probably back when this airs. They're back.
Okay.
I think
so. About that time. But yeah, Piano Rob, my man. What do we got? Anything specific that you got coming up?
Oh my God,
in the summer.
That I can think. No, I think you're gonna still. If we're still in August here, August I think is a pretty easy month. The kids are going to school. I'm hanging out. I'll be at Boathouse. But yeah, that's it. I'm keeping it easy.
And a ton of Cosmic Rewind.
Let's hope as much rewinding as we be kind. Rewind.
There you go. All right, my man. Why don't you play us out a little bit? Give me something to say goodbye to, guys. For me, Gene FitzMagic and my company, Piano Rob. Have a great today, a better tomorrow, and we will see you next time.